A new challenger appears: BRICS nations and their new currency. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are a powerful bloc of emerging economies. They have been increasingly vocal about their desire for a multipolar world, one not dominated by the West. One of their most ambitious projects is the development of a new, unified currency. This move is seen as a direct challenge to the US dollar's long-standing status as the world's reserve currency. The BRICS nations argue that their new currency will offer a more stable and equitable alternative to the dollar, particularly in the face of growing US debt and inflation. The idea of a BRICS currency is not new. Discussions have been ongoing for several years, driven by a shared desire to reduce reliance on the US dollar. The BRICS nations have been steadily increasing their trade with each other using local currencies for transactions. This move is a clear signal of their intent to move away from the dollar-dominated system. The proposed new currency, if successful, could have a significant impact on global trade and finance. The exact details of the new currency are still under discussion. Key aspects, such as its name, value, and underlying mechanisms, have yet to be finalized. The BRICS nations are exploring various options, including pegging the new currency to a basket of commodities or using a digital currency system. The process of designing and implementing a new international currency is complex and fraught with challenges. However, the BRICS nations seem determined to push forward, driven by their ambition to reshape the global financial landscape. The announcement of the new currency has already sent ripples through the international community. Some analysts view it as a potential game changer, capable of disrupting the dollar's dominance. Others are more skeptical, pointing to the many obstacles and potential pitfalls that lie ahead. The success of the BRICS currency will depend on several factors, including the level of internal cohesion within the bloc, the stability of their economies, and the global community's willingness to embrace a new reserve currency. The reigning champion, the US dollar's global dominance. The US dollar has reigned supreme as the world's reserve currency for decades. Its dominance stems from the size and strength of the US economy, the stability of its financial markets, and the deep liquidity of its bond market. The dollar's widespread use in international trade and finance has cemented its position as the preferred currency for global transactions. This status has provided the United States with significant economic and geopolitical advantages. One of the key benefits of having the world's reserve currency is the ability to borrow at lower interest rates. Since global demand for US dollars is high, the US government can issue debt at relatively low costs, allowing it to finance its spending and investments. This advantage has allowed the United States to maintain a large military, fund social programs, and invest in infrastructure. However, this privilege also comes with responsibilities. The United States must ensure the stability and reliability of the dollar to maintain its global acceptance. The dollar's dominance has also given the United States significant geopolitical leverage. The ability to impose sanctions through the control of dollar-denominated transactions has become a powerful tool of foreign policy. This power allows the United States to exert pressure on countries that violate international norms or engage in activities deemed unfavorable to U.S. interests. However, this power has also drawn criticism, with some arguing that it amounts to financial weaponization and unfairly targets certain nations. Despite its long-standing dominance, the US dollar's position is not unassailable. The rise of emerging economies, the growing US debt, and the emergence of alternative currencies are all posing challenges to the dollar's supremacy. The BRICS nations' move to create their own currency is a clear indication of the growing discontent with the existing dollar-centric system. Whether these challenges will ultimately dethrone the dollar remains to be seen, but they certainly signal a potential shift in the global financial order. Cracks in the fortress. Challenges to the dollar's supremacy. The US dollar's position as the world's reserve currency, while still strong, is not without its challenges. The global landscape is shifting, and new economic and geopolitical forces are emerging. These changes are putting pressure on the dollar's dominance and creating opportunities for alternative currencies to gain traction. The BRICS nations' push for a new currency is just one example of this trend. One of the most significant challenges facing the dollar is the growing national debt of the United States. As the debt continues to climb, some investors are beginning to question the long-term sustainability of the U.S. economy. This concern has led to a gradual erosion of confidence in the dollar, making it more susceptible to fluctuations and potential devaluation. The BRICS nations are highlighting these concerns as justification for their new currency, arguing that it will offer a more stable and reliable alternative. Another challenge to the dollar's dominance is the increasing use of alternative currencies in international trade. While the dollar remains the most widely used currency for global transactions, other currencies are gaining ground. The euro, the Japanese yen, and the Chinese yuan are all being used more frequently in bilateral trade agreements and international settlements. This trend suggests a move towards a more multipolar world, where multiple currencies play a significant role in global trade and finance. The emergence of cryptocurrencies is another factor that could potentially disrupt the dollar's dominance. While cryptocurrencies are still in their early stages of development, they offer a decentralized and potentially more efficient alternative to traditional fiat currencies. If cryptocurrencies gain wider acceptance and integration into global financial systems, they could pose a significant challenge to the dollar's status as the dominant reserve currency. The BRICS nations' push for a new currency is a direct response to these challenges. They see the current dollar-centric system as unsustainable and inequitable, and are aiming to create a more balanced and multipolar global financial order. While the success of their endeavor is far from certain, it represents a significant development that could reshape the future of global finance. A currency clash: potential impacts of the BRICS currency. The introduction of a new BRICS currency has the potential to significantly impact the global financial system, particularly if it gains widespread acceptance. The extent of its impact will depend on several factors, including the stability and reliability of the new currency, the level of adoption by other countries, and the response of the United States. One potential impact is a decline in the demand for US dollars. If the BRICS currency becomes a viable alternative for international trade and finance, central banks and other financial institutions may choose to hold fewer dollar reserves. This shift could lead to a weakening of the dollar's value, making imports more expensive for the United States and potentially fueling inflation. It could also make it more expensive for the US government to borrow money, potentially limiting its ability to finance its spending. Another potential impact is the fragmentation of global trade. If the BRICS currency leads to the emergence of two parallel currency blocks, one centered around the dollar and the other around the new currency, it could complicate international trade and investment. Companies operating in both blocks would face increased currency risk and transaction costs, potentially slowing down global economic growth. This fragmentation could also lead to geopolitical tensions as countries choose sides and align themselves with one bloc or the other. The introduction of the BRICS currency could also have a significant impact on the global balance of power. If the new currency gains traction and challenges the dollar's dominance, it could weaken the United States' economic and geopolitical influence. The BRICS nations, on the other hand, would see their influence increase as their currency becomes more widely accepted. This shift could lead to a more multipolar world, where power is more evenly distributed among different countries and blocs. The United States is unlikely to passively accept the rise of a new rival currency. It can be expected to take measures to protect the dollar's status and maintain its global influence. These measures could include strengthening alliances with other countries, promoting the use of the dollar in international transactions, and potentially even intervening in currency markets. The ensuing currency war could have unpredictable consequences for the global economy. The introduction of a BRICS currency has the potential to reshape global trade patterns and relationships. As countries explore alternatives to the US dollar, they may seek to establish new trade agreements and partnerships based on shared currency interests. This shift could lead to the emergence of distinct trading blocs, each operating within its own currency sphere. Countries currently reliant on dollar-denominated trade may find it advantageous to diversify their currency exposure. The BRICS currency could offer a viable alternative, particularly for countries seeking to reduce their dependence on the United States. This shift could lead to an increase in trade between BRICS nations and other countries adopting the new currency, potentially creating new economic opportunities and fostering regional integration. The use of a new currency for trade could also simplify transactions and reduce costs for participating countries. By eliminating the need for currency conversions and hedging against exchange rate fluctuations, businesses could operate more efficiently and expand their international reach. This streamlining of trade could boost economic activity and encourage cross-border investment within the BRICS currency bloc. However, the emergence of distinct currency blocs could also lead to fragmentation in global trade. Countries may prioritize trade within their own currency sphere, potentially erecting barriers to trade with countries outside the bloc. This fragmentation could hinder global economic growth and limit access to goods and services for consumers in countries outside the dominant currency blocs. The transition to a multipolar currency system will likely be gradual and complex. Existing trade relationships built on the dollar's dominance will take time to unravel and reconfigure. The BRICS currency's success will depend on its ability to facilitate trade efficiently, offer stability and predictability, and gain the trust of the international business community. The introduction of a BRICS currency could have profound geopolitical implications, potentially ushering in a new world order characterized by a diffusion of power and influence. As the dollar's dominance erodes, the United States may find its ability to exert global leverage diminished, while the BRICS nations could see their geopolitical clout increase. The BRICS nations have long advocated for a multipolar world, one not dominated by Western powers. Their push for a new currency is a key part of this vision, aiming to create a more balanced and equitable global system. If successful, the new currency could empower these emerging economies and challenge the existing geopolitical order. A shift away from the dollar-centric system could also impact international alliances and partnerships. Countries may realign themselves based on shared currency interests, forming new blocs and coalitions. This realignment could reshape global power dynamics, potentially leading to new geopolitical tensions and conflicts. The use of currencies as a tool of economic statecraft could become more prevalent in a multipolar world. Countries may use their currencies to exert pressure on rivals, reward allies, and influence international events. This potential for currency manipulation could create uncertainty and instability in the global system. The transition to a multipolar world will likely be a complex and turbulent process. Existing power structures and alliances are deeply entrenched, and any significant shift in the balance of power will be met with resistance. The success of the BRICS currency and its impact on the geopolitical landscape will depend on a multitude of factors, including the internal cohesion of the BRICS nations, the response of other countries, and the evolving global economic landscape. The success of any currency, especially one aiming to challenge the dominance of the US dollar, hinges on its ability to inspire trust and confidence among governments, businesses, and individuals. The BRICS currency faces an uphill battle in this regard, as it must overcome skepticism and establish its credibility in a global market accustomed to the dollar's long-standing reliability. One crucial factor in building trust is transparency. The BRICS nations will need to clearly articulate the mechanisms underpinning their new currency, including its value, governance structure, and monetary policies. Open communication and clear guidelines will be essential to alleviate concerns about potential manipulation or arbitrary decision-making. Stability is another key element in fostering confidence. The value of the BRICS currency must remain relatively stable over time to encourage its use in international transactions. Wild fluctuations or unpredictable shifts in value could deter adoption and erode trust among potential users. The BRICS nations will need to demonstrate their commitment to maintaining a stable currency through sound economic policies and responsible governance. The backing of the BRICS currency will also play a significant role in determining its perceived value. Whether pegged to a basket of commodities, a group of existing currencies, or another mechanism, the underlying assets must be perceived as stable and reliable. A robust backing will instill confidence in the currency's long-term viability and encourage its acceptance as a store of value. Ultimately, the BRICS currency's success will depend on its ability to deliver tangible benefits to its users. If it can facilitate trade more efficiently, reduce transaction costs, and offer a stable and reliable alternative to the dollar, it may gradually gain acceptance and erode the dollar's dominance. However, building trust and confidence in a new currency is a long-term endeavor, requiring sustained effort and a proven track record of stability and reliability. Section 8. The Digital Revolution: Cryptocurrencies and the Future of Money. The emergence of cryptocurrencies adds another layer of complexity to the evolving global currency landscape. While still in their nascent stages, cryptocurrencies offer a decentralized and potentially more efficient alternative to traditional fiat currencies. Their potential impact on the BRICS currency and the dollar's dominance remains uncertain, but their disruptive potential cannot be ignored. One potential scenario is the integration of cryptocurrencies into the BRICS currency system. The BRICS nations could leverage blockchain technology to create a digital version of their new currency, potentially enhancing its efficiency, transparency, and security. A digital BRICS currency could facilitate faster cross-border transactions, reduce reliance on traditional banking intermediaries, and offer a more secure platform for international trade. However, the volatility and regulatory uncertainty surrounding cryptocurrencies currently pose significant challenges to their widespread adoption. Governments worldwide are grappling with how to regulate these digital assets, and concerns about their potential use in illicit activities remain a barrier to their integration into mainstream financial systems. The BRICS nations would need to carefully navigate these challenges to successfully integrate cryptocurrencies into their new currency system. Another potential scenario is the emergence of cryptocurrencies as a dominant force in global finance, potentially eclipsing both the BRICS currency and the US dollar. If cryptocurrencies gain widespread acceptance and become deeply integrated into global trade and finance, they could disrupt the existing currency order and usher in a new era of decentralized finance. The future of money is likely to be shaped by the interplay between traditional fiat currencies, emerging alternatives like the BRICS currency, and the disruptive potential of cryptocurrencies. The relative success of each will depend on factors such as stability, trust, adoption rates, and regulatory frameworks. The coming years will be crucial in determining the direction of this evolutionary process and the ultimate shape of the global financial system. Section 9. Expert opinions, predictions, and perspectives on the currency war. Experts hold varying opinions on the potential impact of the BRICS currency and the likelihood of it dethroning the US dollar. Some view it as a legitimate threat to the dollar's dominance, while others believe its impact will be limited. The diversity of perspectives reflects the complex and unpredictable nature of the evolving global currency landscape. Economists who foresee a significant impact of the BRICS currency point to the growing economic power of the BRICS nations and their increasing dissatisfaction with the dollar-centric system. They argue that the BRICS currency could gain traction as a viable alternative, particularly if it can offer stability, transparency, and tangible benefits to its users. The potential for a gradual shift away from the dollar, they argue, should not be underestimated. Other experts express skepticism about the BRICS currency's ability to truly challenge the dollar's dominance. They cite the complex challenges of launching a new global currency, including the need to build trust, establish credibility, and navigate geopolitical obstacles. They also highlight the dollar's enduring strengths, such as its deep liquidity, widespread acceptance, and the robustness of US financial markets. Geopolitical analysts emphasize the potential for a multipolar world order driven by the emergence of alternative currencies. They argue that the BRICS currency could empower the BRICS nations and diminish the United States' global influence, leading to a redistribution of power and a more fragmented geopolitical landscape. The potential for currency wars and increased economic competition, they warn, should not be overlooked. Ultimately, the future trajectory of the global currency system remains uncertain. The BRICS currency's success will depend on a multitude of factors, including the actions of the BRICS nations, the response of other countries, the evolution of global trade patterns, and the disruptive potential of cryptocurrencies. The coming years will be a period of significant change and adjustment as the world navigates this complex and evolving landscape. Section 10. A multipolar future, gradual transition, or abrupt disruption. The transition to a multipolar currency system, where the US dollar shares its dominance with other currencies like the proposed BRICS alternative, could unfold in various ways. It could be a gradual process marked by incremental shifts in reserve holdings, trade patterns, and geopolitical alliances, or it could be a more abrupt disruption triggered by a major economic crisis or geopolitical upheaval. A gradual transition would likely involve a slow and steady increase in the use of the BRICS currency for international trade and finance. Central banks might gradually diversify their reserve holdings, incorporating the new currency alongside the dollar. Trade agreements and investment flows could gradually shift towards the BRICS currency bloc, reflecting the evolving economic landscape. This gradual process would allow for a more measured adjustment, giving countries and businesses time to adapt to the changing currency dynamics. It would also minimize the risk of sudden shocks to the global financial system, as the dollar's dominance would erode gradually rather than abruptly. However, a more abrupt disruption is also plausible, particularly in the event of a major economic crisis or geopolitical shock. A sudden loss of confidence in the dollar, perhaps triggered by a sovereign debt crisis or a major geopolitical conflict, could lead to a rapid flight to alternative currencies, including the BRICS option. Such a disruption could have significant consequences for the global economy, potentially leading to financial instability, trade disruptions, and geopolitical tensions. The ability of the BRICS currency to absorb a sudden influx of demand and provide stability in a crisis scenario would be crucial in determining the severity of the disruption. The likelihood of a gradual transition versus an abrupt disruption will depend on a complex interplay of economic, political, and technological factors. The stability of the U.S. economy, the credibility of the BRICS currency, the evolution of global trade patterns, and the disruptive potential of cryptocurrencies will all play a role in shaping the future of the global currency system. Section 11. The Long Game Timelines and Potential Scenarios. Predicting the exact timeline for a potential shift away from the US dollar's dominance is fraught with uncertainty. The process will likely be influenced by a complex interplay of economic, political, and technological factors, making precise predictions highly speculative. However, exploring potential scenarios can provide insights into the possible trajectories of the global currency system. One scenario involves a gradual erosion of the dollar's dominance over several decades. As the BRICS nations and other emerging economies continue to grow, their economic clout will increase, leading to a gradual shift in global trade patterns and reserve holdings. The BRICS currency, if successful, could become one of several major currencies used in international transactions, coexisting with the dollar, the euro, and other established currencies. In this scenario, the transition to a multipolar currency system would be a slow and drawn-out process marked by incremental shifts in global finance and trade. The dollar would likely retain its status as a major reserve currency, but its dominance would gradually diminish as other currencies gain traction. Another scenario involves a more rapid shift away from the dollar, perhaps triggered by a major economic crisis or geopolitical shock. A sudden loss of confidence in the dollar could lead to a flight to alternative currencies, including the BRICS option, potentially accelerating the transition to a multipolar system. This scenario would likely be more disruptive, potentially leading to financial instability, trade disruptions, and geopolitical tensions. The success of the BRICS currency in providing stability and confidence during such a crisis would be crucial in determining the ultimate outcome. The potential for disruptive technologies, such as cryptocurrencies, to reshape the global currency landscape also adds another layer of complexity to timeline predictions. If cryptocurrencies gain widespread acceptance and become deeply integrated into global trade and finance, they could accelerate the decline of traditional fiat currencies, including both the dollar and the BRICS alternative. Ultimately, the timeline for a potential shift away from the dollar's dominance remains uncertain. The future of the global currency system will be shaped by a complex interplay of factors, including the actions of governments, the behavior of markets, and the evolution of technology. The coming decades will be a period of significant change and adjustment as the world navigates this evolving landscape.
Hello guys, welcome to RokonTV. Here we talk about social issues affecting society as a whole. Guys, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'm kindly asking you guys to please subscribe. And you can also follow me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you guys. Bye.